my seat here because my legs are aching a little bit. They're all scrunched up under the desk, and that's no good for anyone. Alright then, guys, welcome back to game number 2 between Supermen and BuzZ. The score is currently 1-0 to Supermen, and they did a great job of winning that game in they did a good job of winning the first game in this set. They looked pretty comfortable. They didn't look like they were under too much trouble at all, and their victory felt very smooth, it felt very quick, and it felt pretty painless. No, it was pretty painful for the BuzZ guys, pretty hard to take a defeat like that, and I kind of expected a little bit more from them. I'm not really too familiar with the Supermen team, sorry. I'm not really too familiar with Quicksilver, Superman, or Taurus, but I am familiar with the BuzZ guys, and I did expect a little bit of a better performance from them in that first one. So, we're going to go to game number 2, and I'm hoping that this is not going to end up being another 5-0 roll, but I've got high hopes for this set of games, and game 2, once again, is going to be Ancient Lake, and we've seen this map pretty much not even pretty much, just every time in game number 2 for these group stage games, and this one looks really different. I saw this map, and I thought, what's this map? I've not seen this map before. It's very unusually different, and we'll look at the map in a little bit more depth very shortly, and kind of point out where the differences are with this map. But first of all, we'll introduce the players. These guys are once again playing as a 3v3 down to the very south of the map. In the grey, we've got BuzZ Gripen. He is playing as the Mayans. In the flank position as well, down at the south here. In the pocket, they've got in the red BuzZ Bad Trip playing as the Vikings. And I've had many discussions with you guys, many chats, little chats with you guys about the Vikings on this map. And it's good to see that Bad Trip has the Vikings in the pocket here. They're certainly going to be happy with that location. And on the flank for the BuzZ guys, on the top, sort of northish west of the map, more over to the west though, in the purple, we've got BuzZ Blaze playing as the Huns. Nice flank civ to have, and of course with the Mayans on the other flank, that's also pretty nice. For the Superman team, up to the very north of the map, in the flank position, we've got Quicksilver. He's playing as the Vikings. Probably not so nice to have the Vikings there, but this flank is a little bit different. This map is not quite symmetrical, it's more sort of asymmetrical, and we've actually got a very easy wall off for Quicksilver here. So even though he's in the flank, if he walls this left side, he's virtually in the pocket anyway. And I think for that reason, this map is going to have a much larger emphasis on water than some of the previous Ancient Lake games that we've seen. In the pocket position for the Superman team, we've got Super One Man playing as the Mongols in the blue. And last but not least, on the south flank of the the southeast, I guess, in the green, we've got Taurus playing as the Huns. So, it should be, like I say, a pretty interesting game. And the map is, once again, Ancient Lake. But this one is pretty different to what we've seen before. And I don't know if the generation kind of changes when you play a 3v3 versus a 4v4. In the 4v4s that we've seen, the lake seems to be kind of like two lakes in most situations. There's either one huge lake in the middle, or there are two lakes where there's like a smaller lake in the south or the north with the bigger lake in the center of the map. Now this time it looks almost like a river. It's like one big lake across the middle, but there's no open ends to it, which is kind of unusual. And because there's just one single crossing point here for the Superman team, the Quicksilver can wall it up, and pretty much right there as well. He can wall that up, and he can treat this map as if you were in the pocket position, which is nice if you're playing the Vikings, because a lot of the time when we've seen the Viking on the flank on this map, the Viking player has been rushed down, and they've been unable to make a dock, and that's not really been an option for them. Now, in this situation, I've got to say the BuzZ team looking slightly better with their positioning. Now, BuzZ Gripen has a really nice back sort of water here, and although it's linked to the main lake, he can dock that at the back of his base, and he could do a land aggression against the flank player in green, because the guy in green, Taurus, is really far from the water. He's got a long way to travel if he wants to dock that, and that's really risky. But if Taurus plays this one nicely, he looks like he might do a bit of either a drush or some early feudal aggression, but it looks like it will be a drush with that barracks going up there in the south. So he will do a drush, and that is, well, potentially going to be really good for him. Now, his scout's running back because it's pretty weak, so he's not off to a good start with that. But because he's not making a dock, because he's not doing any fishing ships, he will be able to do a much more early aggression, simply because he's not investing wood into these units here. And it takes a little bit of a while to get your return on investment back with your fishing ships. Now, if you think about it, when you do fishing ships, you have to put more villagers on wood, right? Instead of just having 4 villagers on wood, like the green player would have had, you've got to have 5 or 6, and then you add more as well. And as a result, you end up building your dock, then you get your fishing ships out, and it takes a while for those fishing ships to actually gather the food that you would have done if you'd have just sent your villagers to food instead of the wood initially. So it leads you to a little bit of a slower start, but the pace at which you progress becomes much faster. And it's kind of like an exponential increase, I guess, with the fishing in the back. But with green doing a drush here, it could certainly make things a little bit interesting. Gripen has probably scouted that barracks, though, and he does indeed know that that is there, scouting that one out on the flank. So he's aware that this drush is coming in, and as a result he's walled himself slightly towards this TC here, and he will wall across this back as well. This map, not an easy wall by any means. The sides, the flanks can be very open at times, and Gripen might have a tiny bit of trouble dealing with this drush. We will see as these militia come in slowly but surely across the map. Now the other guys, Feudal age upgrade already coming in. In fact, Super One Man going to be the first one up, and as he is playing as the Mongols, that's kind of expected with that hunt bonus, and the Mongols, as a result of that hunt bonus, can do pretty fast feudal time and a good galley rush, because often the speed is what gets you to do a good, well, the strongest galley rush. The fastest and the galley rush usually ends up being the strongest galley rush. But anyway, Gripen down a villager already, and now forced into what seems to be a bit of a land army attack, or a land attack. Trying to quick wall this to keep Taurus out, but Taurus should just be able to go around this side of the gold. If he puts a house up, then he might just be able to stop it, and yeah, that militia is out of there. That scout on just 9 health, and these villagers should be able to pick it off if it gets close. But Gripen obviously forced into this, but he has got these 5 fishing ships at the back, and if we have a quick look at his dock, he's not actually making any more due to having to build this barracks. But if he does now go into an archery range, he could have a really nice land war with Taurus and have a big advantage due to the fact he has got these fishing ships at the back. He could go for scouts, but sorry, he can't go for scouts, he's the Mayans, so he will go for an archery range to clean this up and probably counter-attack as well. Now on the water, the aggression is starting to ramp up a little bit. Those 3 docks are up for Quicksilver. Blaze also with 3 docks, and the Huns, fortunately, a pretty good civ to fight against the Vikings with. The Huns are also very fast up to the feudal age, and that little edge that they can get with that speed is very valuable to them. But it looks like Blaze up here in the north might be in a little bit of a 2v1 situation, as we see the Superman player, the blue guy, coming up with some galleys in the north as well. In the south, Bad Trip, the Viking player, also adding in 3 docks, probably going to add a 4th right here, and he's going to try and grush as well on the water to make sure that these fishing ships stay safe. If they can keep Gripen's fishing ships safe, then Gripen will be able to do some serious damage to Taurus. But oh my goodness me, these villagers on the deer here are so weak, and that villager probably going to go down. The feudal age upgrade done for Taurus, and the villager is dead. And that villager there as well, pretty low with just 22 health. That drush from Taurus being incredibly effective so far. 2 villagers killed, 2 militia still remaining, and his scout, as well as Superman's scout, which is coming in for some action as well. So Gripen actually down a couple of villagers here. And considering he has got off to a decent start with those fishing ships, I feel like the drush has been so good that it's countering him quite nicely at the moment. These ships, though, getting taken down slowly but surely by Superman, and at the moment it's pretty much 2-on-2 on the water, but in the north it's 2-on-1 because Bad Trip a little bit slow to get his galleys out to help out down here. Now this galley should go down pretty quickly, but Bad Trip needs to send some galleys up north, otherwise Blaze will lose the rest of his fishing ships here. Blaze in fact now adding in his 4th dock as well, which as the Huns shows a huge commitment to water. As the Vikings, the 4th dock is pretty common because they obviously have cheaper ships, so they can afford the 4th dock much earlier. But to go with 4th dock as the Huns shows your commitment to the water. And this map is very much like Baltic in a sense, because the water is going to be really valuable on this map. So the scouts here for Bad Trip getting taken down. Taurus losing his scout as well. But it looks like Superman is going to take down the eagle of Mr. Gripen. Gripen, meanwhile, getting those archers out on the front. But that militia is still at the back. And we've got archers coming in from Taurus now as well, as he's got 2 rangers up. And that aggression has obviously forced Gripen back, and sort of not forced him back, I guess, but more sort of locked him inside of his base for a while. So Gripen's got like 500 food at the moment. Taurus has got 300, and obviously he's still got that fish boost as well. So if he can hold out against Taurus here, then Gripen might be okay, but he is under a lot of pressure. He's now the one on the defensive, and I think he's going to want to get that counter-attack going reasonably soon. Taurus, though, already has fletching done, already got +1 attack and range. And meanwhile, BuzZ are losing the water at the top. So at the moment, this is looking very good for Supermen. And if this continues, it might be a pretty comfortable 2-0 for them in this series. Because honestly, the Supermen team seem to have so much more water control at the moment. There's a lot more galleys out. And if we look at that military tab, we can see that the yellow player has killed 10 units already. Quicksilver killing 10 galleys so far, or 10 galleys and fishing ships combined. So that's a really good trade for him, 10 to 5 there. And population-wise as well, Superman 15 galleys and Quicksilver 13. They're really outnumbering the galleys from BuzZ and Bad Trip at the moment as well, with BuzZ just having 10 galleys out. In the south, Gripen's being pushed back. He's got 6 archers and skirmishers out versus the 10 of Taurus. And Taurus now going to be hitting those villagers here as well, looking for some villager kills where he can get them. But he's trying to pressure that gold pile. And obviously, Gripen here trying to take the gold on the front, his main gold, and forced to put a tower up on that due to the pressure that's coming in from Taurus. Taurus could come around here with some archers, though, and he could still hit those villagers whilst just dipping in range of the tower, probably snipe a couple of villagers and move back again. So for the Supermen team, like I say, it's looking very comfortable for them at the moment. And meanwhile, BuzZ is still dying to Quicksilver on the water, who has got that fletching upgrade much sooner, and that is a big deal. Because that +1 attack, obviously being added to all of those galleys, massively increases their DPS. And in actual fact, oh, there we go. I was going to say, it doesn't look like BuzZ actually has his blacksmith up. He did build a blacksmith up at the top, but BuzZ, my goodness me, losing a villager up here to this scout as well. And Taurus is, sorry, not Taurus, sorry, I keep saying Taurus, I meant to say Quicksilver. No, I didn't mean to see Quicksilver. I meant to say Supermen. Supermen just seem to be very in control of this game at the moment, with a really good map presence, and they are just, all over it. They're picking off these villagers left, right, and center as well. Supermen potentially going to lose a couple of galleys here, and Quicksilver looking a little bit more pressured in the north now, since BuzZ added that 5th dock. My goodness me, it's 3 docks versus 5, and BuzZ really trying to get back onto the water now, and he actually has got a galley advantage over Quicksilver, which is, let's be honest, unsurprising, considering he's gone 5 docks versus 3. Quicksilver is still feudal, but he's getting up the market now, and he will be castle fairly soon, whereas BuzZ massively committing to the water here, and obviously BuzZ simply do not want to lose water control, given the fact that they have now gone up to 5 docks with their Hun player and their 4 docks with the Vikings. Superman coming down at the south, though, has got the advantage down here, and he's going to take down a few of these ships from Bad Trip. Got the advantage, like I say, taking them down pretty quickly, and if he does get down here, he will take out the fishers from Bad Trip. Didn't actually see this, but Gripen has actually lost his fishing ships back here as well, which is really unfortunate, but I guess a good thing for Taurus, since now they are fighting on even terms. Taurus with 40 villagers at the moment compared to Gripen's 37, so Taurus has the advantage at the south. He's also got a larger army as well. In the north, Quicksilver's been pushed back, and he's going to get cornered. If you can get cornered on a lake. But yes, he's going to get cornered against the galleys of BuzZ here. BuzZ is going to force him to fight, and that's good timing, because this means that Quicksilver will lose the majority of his galleys. What is BuzZ doing, though? Quicksilver getting away, and that was really bad army control from BuzZ there. Quicksilver should have lost all of those galleys, considering he was going into a corner, and BuzZ had the advantage in galleys. He should have killed them all, but no, he did not, and Quicksilver is going to retreat away. He wants to keep as many galleys alive as he can, though, so that when that war galley upgrade comes in, he can very easily upgrade more, well, get more ships upgraded. However, Quicksilver has not got that war galley upgrade yet. He's still only on the way up to the Castle Age, but Superman has, and that's war galley out for him now. And granted, there's not a huge number of them. BuzZ, of course, with those 5 docks outnumbering them quite significantly, but the war galley upgrade will be coming in for Quicksilver soon as he heads up to the Castle Age now. And I'm just kind of waiting for BuzZ at the moment to get up to the Castle Age as well. But it's going to be a long way off because he is still only feudal. The problem now is as well that he is starting to lose these docks as these war galleys focus them down. And he's cost a lot of his feudal time due to just sinking all of his resources he's got into these galleys now. So the chances are he will keep them alive for the time being, but he may lose a couple of docks if he's not careful. Superman gonna fight with the war galleys here, and in fact they're both gonna fight together, Quicksilver and Superman, but Quicksilver losing way more galleys than he would like. But now he's up to the Castle Age. That's an upgrade for the war galleys coming in, but they're still very outnumbered, and as a result, this huge outnumbering of the Supermen team means that they will probably still lose their war galleys anyway, even though they have the war galley upgrade and BuzZ does not. Gonna keep fighting though, and Quicksilver probably gonna get that war galley any second now. Meanwhile, at the south, Bad Trip lost his fishing ships, but he's still got some navy. But yeah, 4 docks for Bad Trip, 5 for BuzZ, and it's no wonder they have so many galleys on the water. But now that both of these guys, both Supermen players, have that war galley upgrade, BuzZ has been pushed back. 8 galleys remain, and he's not really got anywhere to run. He's not really got anywhere to hide. These guys will start taking down his docks, and that's pretty bad news for BuzZ here, as he's on 20% of the way up to the Castle Age now. In the south of the map, Taurus and Gripen both getting up to Castle, but their population tab's reasonably similar actually. Gripen slightly behind in population, and it looks like Taurus here has got the larger army, but as he's facing so many skirms, and as Gripen has the defense upgrade advantage as well, Taurus is going to be forced back. And that's actually looking pretty menacing for Gripen at the moment. Getting both upgrades for the castle, for the defense and upgrade, maxing those out, and with quite a few skirms in there as well, it means that Taurus might have a little bit of a tough time on his hands. But a siege workshop should be coming up soon, you would hope. There's already a siege workshop up for Gripen here, and it looks like he wants to turn this around by adding in a mangonel early. He has got a second TC, but that third TC delayed due to the siege workshop coming up instead. And Gripen actually adding in a few fishing ships as well. And maybe he didn't lose them after all. Maybe I just didn't see them. But whatever the case, up in the north, Quicksilver and Superman looking very good as they take these docks down from BuzZ. And BuzZ just still trying to get up to that Castle Age and trying to get that war galley upgrade, but it's almost lost for him on the water now. It's going to be very difficult for him to get back on unless Bad Trip does some serious damage. And Bad Trip, his navy's not too bad, 23 on the water, but Superman and Quicksilver combined have 36, so they do outnumber them. And BuzZ now starting to lose these docks, which means he will lose that military production, and he might even go down to 2 docks if both of these ones on the end get taken out, which is bad news for them. So the mangonel is out now for Gripen, and it looks like Taurus switching into cavalry archers, which makes sense considering he's playing as the Huns. He's also got bloodlines done, and he's got that +2 defense now as well. So the cavalry archers are going to be able to resist quite a bit of mangonel fire. And of course, Taurus is going to fall back and build a siege workshop of his own. And this game almost feels like Arabia at the south here. This is almost like exactly what you'd expect to see in an Arabia game between these two guys. Whereas everyone else, it's like they're playing on Baltic. It's like, what? It's 2 maps in 1. It's insane. It's great. So, obviously, this fight between Taurus and Gripen has been pretty close so far. Taurus still has more units, but of course, never underestimate the power of the mangonel. Taurus looks like he wants to engage. There's his mangonel out, and he needs to get the mangonel from Gripen. The mangonel's both going down, and Taurus now can engage. because those cavalry archers are so much stronger than the crossbows. They have double their health. They have an extra attack as well, and of course with the extra defense upgrades that they have, they're going to be pretty tanky against the crossbow shots from Gripen as well. So this is an interesting fight because Taurus messed that one up. He actually split his crossbows away, and that was a big mistake, causing him to lose a cavalry archer, but he's adding in some knights now as well, and the addition of knights could be very useful. The knight will tank up a lot of that skirmisher fire. This should be an easy cleanup now, an easy win for Taurus if Gripen fights this. Of course, those cavalry archers laying down the damage, and that knight, although it just died very quickly, did soak up some arrow fire, enough for Taurus to get that victory. And Taurus now can move out and start cleaning up these crossbows because, like I say, crossbows severely underpowered against cavalry archers, and the Hun cavalry archer is just too good. It is so cheap, it is so strong, and it is an extremely powerful unit to face up against crossbows, and Gripen has to have more mangonels here if he wants to fight this head on, because otherwise the crossbows will not be able to put up enough of a fight. Meanwhile, on the water, Superman and Quicksilver 2v1 against Bad Trip. Blaze losing all of his docks now, and that's horrible for him to deal with. Blaze, the Hun player, not like he's going to fall back and sling, though he is up to 4 TCs. He's not going to be slinging, I don't think. Bad Trip losing everything he's got now. 3 military left. Make that 2, and the next docks are going to be taken out from Bad Trip. Supermen looking like they're all over this at the moment. BuzZ, no water control at all. They've both Bad Trip and BuzZ Blaze have really invested into water control, yet they've now lost it. And meanwhile, on the right side at the south, Taurus massing up those cavalry archers, and Gripen only has 13 military compared to the 38 of Taurus at this point in time. Taurus with another siege workshop coming forwards. We're seeing battering rams and mangonels coming out, and Bad Trip, Gripen even, might have a little bit of a tough time dealing with this. If the mangonel comes in and takes down this watchtower, then I can guarantee that this house will probably go down pretty quickly as well, and Taurus will make his way through here. We do have a castle coming up for Gripen, but I'm not sure about that location. It's blocking off his stone here. Obviously, he's got stone elsewhere as well. He must have stone elsewhere. Okay. Okay, yeah, stone here as well, but it's not a good idea to block your resources up like that. He cannot take that stone now, realistically, unless he deletes that castle. So that's a really awkward place for a castle there, and I'm not sure about that location at all. The mangonel on the right side coming in, and well, he's going to start taking out these buildings eventually. Taurus, though, going to lose his mangonel. That was a good shot by Gripen there, but he could get focused down pretty quickly as he has no supporting units for this mangonel. Meanwhile, Quicksilver's actually starting to sling now. The Viking player for the Supermen team sending these resources to Taurus so that Taurus can go up to the Imperial Age. He's just clicked up, and that's looking pretty nasty for Gripen. Now, anyone else up to the Imperial Age? I don't think there would be, but I am wrong. Blaze and Superman going up as well, and Gripen, just clicking up also. And these guys, I'm surprised Gripen managed to get up to Imp so quickly in comparison to Taurus here. I guess Taurus did invest quite a lot in military, so I guess that is why. But Taurus is going to be the first up to Imp, I think. Oh no, he's not. Superman's going to be the first up. But I kind of feel like Quicksilver's probably slung Superman as well. So, water control very firmly in favor of the Supermen team. And they have a lot of control over these crossing points now. And of course, these crossing points are the only way that the BuzZ team are going to be able to get into Quicksilver's base. Of course, at the south, I guess they're kind of fortunate because Gripen's on the right side of this, so it's not like their opponents have walled up the choke point. But because Supermen have all this water control, they're going to be able to patrol this shallows, and that's going to stop Bad Trip from reinforcing easily at all. So we'll see what happens there. Meanwhile, at the south, so many cavalry archers out for Taurus, and cavalry archers are fantastic because they can actually tank mangonel shots because they just have that much health. Look at that, just one going down, and although they took a bit of damage, they took down that mangonel, and Gripen is a little bit pressured at the south. Gripen, though, with that castle now, should be going for some plumed archers. He is adding in a couple. A couple of mixed in there, but he's actually putting up some barracks, so it seems like we'll see some Eagle Warriors from him, which is an interesting decision. Obviously, Eagle Warriors, when fully upgraded, a lot of Pierce armor. They're going to be able to deal with ranged units reasonably well, provided the ranged units don't mass up into a corner or something. So we'll see. We will see what happens. Obviously now Taurus up to Imperial Age, Blaze up to Imperial, Supermen up to Imperial, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Supermen does. I spy a transport ship, and that is going to be heading across, it seems, to this little area here where these guys seem to be patrolling their boats. So Blaze getting up quite a few watchtowers, and of course these guys are going to be very cautious of a landing. They've got watchtowers all the way along the shoreline here, and they can see those boats, and they probably are going to see the landing as well. So Bad Trip and Blaze kind of waiting at the moment, it seems, for the enemy to come to them, and they're going to spot that landing coming in very quickly, thanks to those fantastic outposts that they've got, and getting town patrol as well, and town watch and town patrol for that extra line of sight on buildings. So the landing's coming in now. We'll look at Blaze's point of view, and we'll see how long it takes him to spot it. Meanwhile, at the south, though, Taurus got that heavy cavalry archer upgrade. He's got the capped ram upgrade, and I guarantee any minute now, well, not any minute now, but the siege ram upgrade will be on the way soon. This is looking really gnarly for Gripen. Gripen's got the elite illegal warrior upgrade as well, but really lacking the defense upgrades here, which he's going to need if he wants to push this back. That landing's coming in. Superman trying to build a castle, but of course Blaze has spotted that out, and those Cavalier are going to head that off. There are a lot of boats here though, so the question is, will he be able to stop that castle from going up? Are his Cavalier going to be tanky enough? But it seems like they will. It seems like they'll take those villagers down, and that castle and that landing is a failure, and that was a great example and a great use of watchtowers, or outposts, sorry, to basically prevent the death of your team. Still, the major problem that these guys cannot reinforce Gripen easily, and that's a ton of cavalry archers right there. There's that siege ram upgrade we talked about, and that is expected. So many siege rams from Taurus, and Taurus is a great player, obviously. I mean, he's played so well these last couple of games, getting that sling from Quicksilver, and there is no way Gripen has enough here. He's got 40 military units versus the 80 of Taurus. Taurus is 2-to-1 for resources at the moment, and we are waiting for the BuzZ team to try and help him out, but of course they're not at the moment, and that is awkward because Gripen's dying pretty badly. He's making quite a lot of eagles, but he's running out of gold very quickly here. His barracks are queued as best as they can be, and we've got Bad Trip sending him some resource, but his units are dying as soon as they come out of the barracks. There are too many heavy cavalry archers here. This TC is going to fall. Bad Trip sending all of the resources, but it is just not enough because these trebs are now going down. The siege rams are continuing to push forwards, and although there's a lot of eagles queued up in these barracks, they're getting taken down as soon as they leave the barracks there, and that is painful to see, horrible to see. Blaze somehow managing to send a few Cavalier over, and he is going to be reinforcing a little bit, I guess, but meanwhile, this landing attempt from Superman is now successful. The castle going up and two more being built on either side of it, with Galleon behind this to make sure that those villagers don't die this time. So the Cavalier coming in from Blaze, but that's just not enough. There's like, what, 10 or 12 Cavalier there versus about 100 cavalry archers, and that's not even an exaggeration. There nearly is 100 military units here for Taurus. So this looks very GG for Gripen in the south. And on the left side, the ram rush is coming in from Blaze. And there's actually no military units on the land here to stop these rams coming in, so he might actually push this back. But the problem is, if he pushes this back, fine, they've got their land back here, but Gripen's base is still going to be destroyed, and they've not hit the Supermen team once this game at their economies or anything like that. So these castles still going up, another castle now going up next to it, and the repairs beginning on this castle here as the galleons start firing at these rams, and they're actually taking them down pretty quickly. These rams going to take 200 arrows to go down, but that is going to be, well, a lot of ballista shots from the water, and of course some Mangudai behind this, which are going to be super effective against siege, and that ram rush has failed. Meanwhile in the south, still pushing forwards. Taurus taking out all of those barracks, and Gripen is GG. Problem is, if he runs, he's going to run into a bunch of boats, or he should at least run into a bunch of boats, but Superman doesn't have his boats there. He's taken down these TCs from Bad Trip, though, and wow, finally, Paladins coming in from BuzZ here. But still, way more heavy cavalry archers than I would like to deal with over on this right-hand side. Taurus down to 79 military units, but he's got 84 economy, so he's got much more space for military units simply because the sling from Quicksilver is keeping him afloat at the moment. The Hussar upgrade coming in as well for him, just for a little bit of extra padding in his army, I guess. But more Paladins coming over, and that's what I want to see. I'm just so surprised that these boats aren't patrolling this choke point here, or this crossing point, because those Paladins are now in. And they are going to obviously be the lifeline that Gripen needs. I'm actually very surprised that that Gripen managed to get the support here from BuzZ. So they're going to try and clean that up in the back. The Elite Eagle Warriors are lacking the upgrades still. They have got the health upgrade from the castle, which is very valuable to them. They are lacking those defense upgrades still, lacking that attack upgrade. But the Paladins should help out massively here. There's 48 Eagles and there's about 36 Paladins combined. They are going to have enough here to probably push back these heavy cavalry archers, but they need to engage together, and they need to go together. But this is now a problem, because BuzZ, whilst he's dealing with this at the south, he's not dealing with this outside of his own base, and those villagers just being ran at the Mangudai there, perhaps freeing up some population room. He has got 150 villagers after all. Bad Trip with 192 villagers at the moment. He is just basically the economy for these team. And BuzZ and Gripen actually pushing this back from Taurus, which is great. But this is now the real issue. And BuzZ is obviously suiciding a lot of his villagers there to try and get some more military out and push this back. Probably a little bit of an overboom from BuzZ, to be honest with you, but this on the right side looking good for BuzZ and Gripen. I'm actually very glad that they pushed this back, because I didn't want it to be that much of an easy GG for the Supermen team. I wanted this game to be close. We've not had that many really close games so far, and this could be one of those games by the looks of it, as long as, of course, BuzZ doesn't die too quickly at the top of the map here against these elite Mangudai that are fully upgraded, nearly. So, oh wait, they are fully upgraded even, my bad. So yeah, masses of Eagle Warriors though. If these guys keep pushing, if they keep their momentum, then Taurus will be very, very hard pressed to defend this. Superman coming in with some castles and some Mangudai of his own, but he's not quite there yet. So this is actually looking like the BuzZ guys might push this right back. And of course, there's no walls here either from the Taurus's team. So there's no walls from Supermen. So these Elite Eagles, now they've got +4 defense and 100 health. Of course, the Mayan Eagle Warrior with a little extra health, a little bit better at raiding. It could just happen that they will go to Superman's base and start raiding his eco. They could start raiding Taurus's eco, and in fact they are raiding his eco. And this is actually looking like there is a potential for a small comeback for the BuzZ team, provided of course this does not go down. And it's looking very, very menacing in the north of the map for BuzZ at the moment, because this trade is right behind these castles. These walls are going up, but they're only Hun walls, and they cannot be upgraded to fortified wall. I almost said elite walls there. I would love to see what an elite wall looks like. But yeah, that raiding is starting to begin a little bit in the back of the map, but I think it got cleared up pretty quickly. These guys, though, the Supermen team, very exposed still. Like I say, not a great deal of wall from them. And there's the Paladins in the back of the map trying to take down some of that trade. And so far, the BuzZ team have been the first to hit the trade, which is kind of impressive, considering how defensive they are back at home. And Taurus falling right back now, but still getting that sling from his teammates. Still getting sling from Quicksilver at the moment as well. So this push on the top looking really good still. The Supermen team, with those Mangudai, able to cut down those Paladins incredibly quickly. And it still doesn't seem like BuzZ is caring too much about that. He's not really got that much military up here. He probably should have a little bit more, but they are still raiding the back still putting some pressure onto these guys' economies. And look at those Eagle Warriors. There's a ton of them running in, and kind of just ignoring the fact that there's still a lot of buildings here from Taurus and Hussar killing his villagers. So these guys are obviously forced to defend. They've got no choice. They have to defend from these Eagles and from these Paladins. But I can't help but feel that Gripen here could probably do a little bit more raiding than just trying to focus down on the TCs. I know how tempting it is. I played did you guys remember the game, where I played as the Celts, and it was that all-out Celt war, and I was just like spamming the Woad Raiders at the TCs just because I could. That's kind of what Gripen's probably feeling like at the moment. Now the problem here for Gripen is that he hasn't got fully upgraded Eagles here, and the Paladins from Taurus, although they're also not fully upgraded, they are still stronger at this point in time. So this Paladin's still going to do a lot of damage here, but the Paladins from Blaze are fully upgraded, and they are at the back of the map, killing off that trade. Yeah. And so is Superman very soon. Superman can literally just run these Mangudai in, and that trade is gonna go down. Bad trip there with 181 eco units, and a lot of them will be trade carts as well. So Blaze just abiding his time, waiting to mass up as many units as possible before engaging, and that's completely understandable and the right thing to do. Gonna try and take down those rams first. And the thing here though is that while Blaze is doing the siege ram upgrade, it doesn't work quite as well against the Mangudai, because Mangudai demolish siege so quickly. Blaze is adding in some skirms though. That's a good idea, and they will, well, the skirms will hopefully deal a little bit more with the Mangudai. I think that's their plan anyway. But as long as this trade doesn't go down, and so far it's not, then the BuzZ team are going to be able to hold out for now. But those Paladins getting cut down so quickly by the Mangudai. They're incredibly strong, and these guys have a really good foothold into their base now, their side of the map. Now, it's good to see that this is getting cleaned out, though, at least. This from Taurus is being pushed right back, and Taurus now down to 85 population, losing a lot of his military, and there are still Paladins in the trade line for their team as well. So this game still has quite a lot of potential left, and I thought that once the Supermen team got this landing, I honestly thought once Taurus was pushing in on this bottom side, that it would have been a very fast GG from BuzZ, but they're holding out. They are holding out, and although Blaze at the north is looking really like he is struggling against the Mangudai, those skirms are coming in now. He's lacking the upgrades, but they are coming in, and slowly but surely, he might just be able to push these back if he's got enough skirms out. Skirms, at least some kind of a counter to this, because Superman is looking very strong with all of those Mangudai at the moment. Such a strong unit, able to kill off villagers, and no, not villagers, kill off Paladins even so quickly. At the south though, yeah, I mean, Gripen's still pushing forwards. Everything is on fire. He's loving it. And even putting a castle up here as well, as more elite eagles come out and more pikes come out as well. They've still not got water control, but you've got to bear this in mind actually as well. Quicksilver here has got 164 population, right? The yellow player, 164 population, but he's actually got quite a lot of ships. He's got 31 ships at the moment. Bad Trip's got 186 population, and adding a lot more trade carts in, though they're actually stopping their trade at the moment just in case it goes down. But Bad Trip making a lot of trade carts here. He's only got 8 military. So Bad Trip has a larger eco than Quicksilver, and Bad Trip is still slinging. So he is slinging the guys on the flank, right? Bad Trip doing that. Whereas Quicksilver's doing that for Superman and Taurus. He doesn't have quite as much eco, so he's not got as many resources to give. Also bear in mind that the blue player here actually still has some galleons on the water, something that Gripen and Blaze do not have at all. So they also may have the potential for a larger army here as well. So this game still has a lot of potential for the BuzZ team, as long as they can clean this up in the north. And it's looking really doubtful, let's be honest. I mean, we've even got Bad Trip coming in with some skirms now as well, but Superman adding in those light cavalry, because light cavalry are amazing at dealing with skirms, and are also really good for the Mongols because they just have the awesomest light cavalry ever. They're hussars with so much health, so much beefiness. They're getting in there, killing off a lot of those skirms, and these guys are struggling, but the trade is still there. it's just sort of very messy, but it's still there, and they are getting some resources at the very least. I'm wondering how much they're actually getting, though, from this trade. They are getting 30 gold per trip, but that's still a lot of gold when you consider just how many trade carts are here. Gripen, meanwhile, yeah, looking really good on the right side. Mass Halbs, mass Eagle Warriors, and actually pushing Taurus right back. I wonder if he can hold on to that on his own without the help of BuzZ. BuzZ with a few light cavalry here should perhaps focus more on the north, though. These walls getting taken down, and Supermen are dangerously close to their siege at this point. Sorry, their trade at this point in time. BuzZ actually has 136 eco at the moment and 42 military. He's got a lot more potential for military for now. I mean, he has got potential for close to 80 military if he deletes a few more villagers. I think it's probably worthwhile, considering Bad Trip is all out into eco at the moment. But yeah, more raiding at the back, and on the right side the Rams are in now as well, meaning that Gripen will be able to push this forwards. And those Halbs gonna cut through those Hussars like a hot knife through butter. They are gonna get caught out, they are gonna die incredibly quickly, and as long as he keeps those Halbs close to the Rams, he can probably escort them quite far forwards. Quicksilver coming down south with his boats, but those boats just useless at the moment. I feel there's very little that those boats can do. Superman, though, still pushing forwards in the north, and it's getting dangerously close to the trade. All he has to do, and I don't know why he's not done it yet, all he has to do is select his Mangudai and right click here. That's all he has to do, and a load of that trade's going to die. And to be fair, it's going to be difficult for him. I don't think BuzZ would be able to counter that straight away. He might lose a few Mangudai, but he would kill a lot of trade units, and that, at the end of the day, is the valuable thing. At the moment, his strategy is to creep forwards with these trebuchets and keep the Mangudai behind the trebs to keep the trebs safe. And that's fair enough. Keeping the trebs safe is very important, but I feel like he could do a lot more up here. In the south, yes. Looking pretty awkward for Taurus, but saying that, he did kill off a lot of halberdier. A lot of those halbs going down to the heavy cavalry archers there, and Gripen now down to 160 pop after being populated. Well, he was previously population cap, but those Rams still in there, still doing a lot of damage, and there's not really that many paladins to stop them as they steamroll through. Purple, BuzZ, light cavalry still in that trade line from Supermen, and these guys have lost the most trade so far, but that might change very soon as this blue dot gets dangerously close to the heart of BuzZ's economy. And I still could not tell you exactly which way this game is gonna go. To be honest with you, I still could not quite tell you which way it's gonna go, because Gripen now being pushed back in the south, this is the perfect opportunity for Supermen to win this game. But at the same time, BuzZ still seem to have something left. They still seem to be able to pick up the momentum when they really need to, and they've still not lost all of their trade just yet. So I don't know. I still don't know which way this could go, and it's still looking reasonably close to me. At any rate, those halbs from Gripen really helping to deal with those paladins, of course, and a lot of Rams coming in here as well. So many heavy cavalry archers behind this, and that really is Gripen's main problem. Dealing with the heavy cavalry archers is tough. You either have to close the gap with your halbs and take them out that way, or run those elite eagles to their deaths. But more plumed archers for Gripen here. I think that could be a good solution. Plumed archers incredibly strong, and against the cavalry archers, they do have extra pierce armor, so potential to do a lot of damage. The plumed archers are so much cheaper as well, remember, although these are Hunt cavalry archers, so the Hunt cavalry archer is cheaper than most, but the plumed archer is just such good value for money. The trade, though, stopping now for BuzZ at the moment. They have either stopped their trade or they've lost their trade, and I think the answer is that they've lost their trade, because, oh no, they haven't. Bad Trip moving all of those carts out of the way to keep them safe, but their main trade line has been broken. Superman bringing in his Mangudai at the back. They're killing a few trade carts here and there as well. This push just looks unstoppable at the moment, but BuzZ with a ton of paladins now, light cavalry to support this as well, and he wants to take down those trebs, I think. Gonna get a surround on that. We'll see what he can do. The Mangudai just gonna fall back into a small gap, but the trebs should go down now. And for BuzZ, that's really good news, because if those trebs fall, then obviously this push from Superman's going to slow down quite a lot. They are just still trading between these two markets. Now, they're only getting very small amounts of gold, but actually Blaze removing his markets now, and he's actually going to put them down here. So Bad Trip putting his market in the south, and actually they get 27 gold from that, so they're not that far off the gold they were getting. Just the mess of trade carts, though, is ugly, really ugly, but they're keeping that trade going at all costs. And if they can keep the trade alive, then they can probably keep this game alive for now. Gripen still making those plumed archers, which is good to see, though he's lacking a few of the upgrades. Meanwhile, Quicksilver using some of those galleons for good measure, putting them on the coast there to take out some of Gripen's houses. But it's not like Gripen can't exactly build down here. But oh, elite cannon galleon now on the map for Quicksilver. And that could have quite an impact, because if elite cannon galleons start hitting these markets, that is going to take the trade down again. But yeah, elite cannon galleon in the south, I've got to keep an eye on that for Quicksilver, because he could start taking down these castles from Gripen. And if Gripen loses his castles, that means that there will be no more plumed archer production. On the right side, that's a pretty potent army, 75 military units from Taurus there. And although, yeah, he's running headlong into Halberdier, and there are plumed archers behind this, that's still a lot of military on that right side. Gripen, though, also with 75 units. Not like he's exactly missing any. And Bad Trip now joining the fight in the north as well, with a lot of skirmishes coming out for him. Paladin's still out for Blaze, and it actually looks to me like Superman might be pushed back here. Look at this lumber camp there. I just saw that in the corner of my eye. Blaze, like, his lumber camp is so far to walk. These rams are getting taken out by the cavalry. And there's a lot of skirmishes there. In fact, there's a lot more skirmishes there than Mangadai, I think. Problem is, Superman bringing out the Onager, Wololo Onager in the chat if you want to see some big Onager shots. Unfortunately, not going to happen just yet. That Onager getting focused down. And more Onagers still coming out. The Onagers, of course, going to focus down these skirms. That's their one job. A couple going down there. 5 on that hit. And the skirmishers seem to be falling away quite quickly. In fact, this army from BuzZ just does not seem to stop the Mangadai. The Mangadai is so goddamn good. And these guys probably need a little bit of Mangonel or Onagers themselves if they want to take these Mangadai out. Because they're just sitting between these siege workshops. Very little surface area on this massive unit. And Blaze, even with paladins, even with, the second best paladins in the game, cannot get anywhere close to this. Just cut down in an instant. On the right side, Gripen is still holding on. He's still got those plumed archers out, but I think he's starting to lose his castles. That castle there going down to the cannon galleons. And yeah, he seems to be struggling. 44 military versus the 64 of Taurus. And Taurus pushing forwards. There's more Mangadai here from Superman as well. Ooh, and it's looking tough now. It's looking tough now. BuzZ have been on the downhill, slippery slope for a while. Blaze, no resources left at all. Gripen, nothing left at all. Is looking at Bad Trip. He has got a little bit of resource, but it's not that much. He's got to split that between his teammates, and there's the Siege Onager as well. Siege Onager is done for Superman, and that means that these guys have a lot of resources, and that is indeed true. Superman with like almost 10k food, 7k wood, 1k gold. Taurus with not so much, but he has got a lot of food and wood compared to the other team. And Quicksilver, obviously, with all this trade, these guys are able to generate much more gold in the long run. These guys are getting 100 gold per trip, whereas BuzZ are getting 27 gold per trip. They are getting hardly any gold from this trade line. And obviously, these Siege Onagers now, just a sign of wealth from the Supermen team as they cut through all of those skirmishes and continue pushing forwards. I think this is probably it for the BuzZ team. Gripen's pushed right back, and this blue attack upon BuzZ's base just seems to be cutting down everything in their way. The Mangadai is just such a strong unit, and you should never underestimate it. I'm very impressed by Superman, though. They're doing good. And that is fantastic. More tribute, more tribute. Look at that, though. So much. 2,000 wood, 2,000 food, 1,200 gold. Superman's just going to be able to keep making Manganite all day. And there's the GG. Gripen saying GG right there. And that is that. GG for BuzZ. Well played by the Supermen team. They had water control pretty early on, and I think that is obviously just one part of their victory. Their victory came in part, I guess, due to the fact that they managed to pull off this landing, and the fact that they just had Mongols. The Mongols are so goddamn strong. They really are. Obviously, on this right side, Taurus had the upper hand over Gripen for a long while, and although Blaze came over and helped him out and to push this right back, it just wasn't enough in the end. And Taurus was able to keep pushing through with a little bit of support from Superman. And BuzZ just could not get this off of their land. If they'd have pushed this away, if they'd have stopped these castles going up and pushed this back, it might have been a different story altogether. And Blaze perhaps could have done that, but he was so focused on helping Gripen that he didn't have the units to spare up here. And obviously Superman slowly but surely pushing forwards, and he is going to obviously do a huge amount of damage due to that, causing their trade to go down, and that ended up being very messy in the end for BuzZ there, and